Hey everyone, this is Corine La Font, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know how we do it here on Between the Lines, always with gratitude, or some people say thankfulness. Either way, it works. We are above ground, people. We are above ground. Not everybody is fortunate enough to say that on this day today. And so we are thankful. It's a beautiful day. I'm sure I haven't looked out. I'm in the Caribbean after all. Every day is beautiful. All right. So today I have with me, you know what? I'm afraid to pronounce her name, but I'm going to try. At least the first name. Let me try. Let me try. Give me a half a tick if I did well. Makheni Zonneveld.
Makheni Zonneveld.
Okay, people, I'm going to try it again.
Make it easy for yourself. The coolest granny in town.
Makheni Zonneveld.
Thank you.
All right. And today we're talking about forgiveness. And that's a very good topic. Forgiveness and your health. And it's why it's a good topic because it's that time of the year where everybody's doing that introspection and reflection and all of that. Okay? And thinking whether to plan a revenge or to forgive. Forgiveness and your health. And what's the connection between forgiveness and your health? But before we go there, let me tell you a bit about Makheni today. I'm reaching for her bio. Okay. Now, listen, I know I'm going to tell you something here now, and you might not believe me, but she said it. So if I'm lying after her. Okay. She's 71 years young. Okay, people, 71 years young. Makheni has been in the personal transformation space since 1999. Okay, it looked like she was just born in 1999, but okay. After proper nutrition information saved her from an operation in 2008, she embarked on a food toxicology. This life-saving message. And that is why we talk about forgiveness and health, because I know the two things are connected. Makheni, welcome to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much, Corine. And I would like to say what a privilege it is to be on your show. I don't say this lightly. I Googled you, I watched your other episodes, and I saw you being interviewed and heard your profile and thought, what a privilege to be on this women's show. Thank you.
You are feeding my soul, let me say. You are feeding my soul, and I thank you for that. And I thank you for that. Actually covers the whole year 2024 and 2025 coming. So thank you for that. It's a pleasure to have you. 71 years young. Isn't that something?
A privilege.
You see that word you said there? A privilege. I tell people on numerous occasions, it's not an entitlement. It's not an obligation. It's not owed to you to age or to even be above ground. Okay? Nobody owes you anything. It is a privilege. So when some people are afraid to mention their age or their number, you're like, really? Be proud of it. And especially when it comes to your health. If you're healthy while you're aging, because there are some people who are probably in a hospital at this moment while we're speaking, unfortunately, or they're laid up in a bed at home or in some sort of hospice or something, where they have people taking care of them. And so not many 71-year-olds can be here on this show looking as fine as you.
Thank you.
So listen, forgiveness and health. Let's attack the topic immediately. Forgiveness and health. What do you think is a connection between those two things?
You say, what do I think it's the connection, Corine? It's not what I think, because this is factual.
Okay.
There is a connection between the body and the mind. Joy enhances your health.
Mm-hmm.
Not forgiving and being destroys your health. And uh, your body also affects the mind. So it's a two-way street. When you
Symbiotic.
for your health, when you ill, it affects your mental state. So there is a connection between the two. And I've already mentioned the positive and the negative. So the topic today is forgiveness and your health. It's part of mental health. So it's about
Mm-hmm.
choosing whether to be a victim of the negative body mind connection or choosing to harness the positive body mind connection.
You see
What?
that word you use there? Choosing, choice. I was just talking to a friend, and the topic that, that word keeps coming back. Everything we do is a choice. You choose. Life is about choices. From the time you wake up in the morning, you choose whether to brush your teeth, whether to eat, whether to bathe, whether to go out, whether to stay in, whether to work, it's a choice. You choose whether to call somebody. It's a choice you're doing all day, every day. So you could choose to forgive. You could choose to hold on, like you say. And when look at our facial expression and our gestures when you talk about hold on, you tend to grip, your body gets tense, right? And that is exactly what's happening in the cells. It gets tense. And I mean, I am not a toxicologist, but my little layman understanding and reading and knowing, building a personal relationship with my body, mind, and soul, I know that cells are living things. We have millions of them. And as living things, just like plants and animals and us, things affect us. And if our cells realize, wait a minute, we're not feeling too good today, something is off, it starts to do the necessary to protect the body. And so it clumps and it starts to attack sometimes, even the things, it attacks us. Not because it wants to, but because it's trying to protect. And in that protection, it gives off things. I want you to explain that inner working of the body, seeing that you have done the work on nutrition and toxicology, with the mind, with persons who hold on, because we could tell the opposite. But I want you to delve a little bit more into when somebody holds on and they're tense and they believe that anger and resentment and what somebody did them and they're planning, what does that do to the body?
What it does to the body is the opposite of what happens when you're happy, when you hear good news, when you exercise. The happiness hormones get released. That is why I'm not sitting down. I wonder if people realize I'm standing. I always stand and walk and move. So when you walk, when you exercise, the happiness hormones get released. That's why I'm addicted. But when you do the opposite, when you get angry or when you get stressed or when you hold on to the anger, adrenaline and cortisol flood your body. And I agree with you. We are designed that way for our protection because in the past, when we were running around, not in a concrete jungle, but in a real jungle with wild animals, it was for our protection, fear and flight.
Yeah.
But when you keep anger and you don't manage stress properly, you are in that state that is supposed to help you short term. You are in that state for a prolonged time. And then your body gets just flooded with these terrible hormones and they affect each cell in your body and they cause disease. The first time, decades ago, the first time I heard that not forgiving people causes cancer, I thought, now is a
What?
bit of an exaggeration until I started understanding how it really works, and it is for real. It causes serious disease.
Not forgiving somebody, I'm going to repeat that. Not forgiving another person can cause cancer. You know why? Your cells are not happy, and your cells are meant to be happy. They are meant to be happy. They are rolling around, tumbling around millions of things, wanting joy, dancing, partying, laughing, spilling over of those happy hormones. They want that.
Yeah.
So when they pick up that something is off, they're like, what is going on? They hold a meeting inside there. They're like, what are we doing? Why is this happening here? And they all rush to that particular part where it's got given the greater impact. I did watch the show Osmosis Jones. It's one of my favorite animation movies. So, you learn about the body through that animation and you realize, wait a minute, your body's actually doing the things to protect you. But in that sense, it is causing harm because in its protection, it is doing what it has to bring out the big guns. If you want to use that term, bring out the big guns in the aim, in the objective of helping you. And forgiveness, I think, probably if you get a flu or some sort of thing, that might be fine. But you see, forgiveness or unforgiveness is actually worse because I think it starts up here and it starts to breed some kind of things. What is released from the body? What is happening to us on a mental level? Who takes over? Does the mind take over? Does the body take over? What is the conversation that's happening in your body? The struggle, what's the conversation that's happening with a human being when they don't forgive?
It's a two-way street. The,
Mm.
the interaction of the body and mind is a continuous thing. It's a continuous flow. And these stress hormones really strain every cell in your body. They strain every cell in your body and
Mhm.
they lower your immunity. Stress lowers your immunity. And I used to think, I think many people believe that, I used to believe that only infectious diseases are opportunistic. Now, the scary part is even diseases like cancer are opportunistic. They strike when your immunity is low.
What do you mean opportunistic? This don't like a plan. What do you mean?
They
You, what do you
strike.
mean? What do you mean? They sit down and strategize and decide, look, here is an opportunity for us to take over. It's like a coup. What is going
Yeah.
on?
It's because the white blood cells that you have
Mm,
work well when your immunity is high. That is the meaning of immunity. Uh,
mhm,
I don't know. I don't know about where you are, but I'm in the Netherlands. I'm originally from South Africa, where AIDS used to be very big. And
mhm,
the men in the street heard about the word immunity for the
mhm,
first time. Then, it became a word that's used by everybody. And hence, there's an association between HIV and AIDS and immunity. But the truth is, immunity, a lowered immunity affects everything. I'll give you an example. When your immunity is low and you've overstrained your body, you get a cold or a flu.
true.
That's opportunistic. But
Yeah.
then not only that, and with COVID-19, we saw that people with compromised immunity were affected more than people with better immunity. So, with people with comorbidities like diabetes and other serious illnesses, and people with like older people, the older you get, the weaker your immunity becomes. That's why you
Mhm.
need to boost it all the time. And people, when I say boost your immunity, I don't mean buying immune boosters. Please don't buy them. Please don't buy health products. You boost your immunity by eating right and having skills to deal with stress.
Exercise,
Exercise.
meditation.
Look after your body and your mind. That way you boost your immunity. Now, I'd like to get to a point on forgiveness. By the way, they say a definition is always a good place to start. The
Very good.
word of forgiveness. I like to define forgiveness this way: choosing to change, choosing to change, to overcome the impact of negative emotions that result from being offended and move on. Choosing to overcome that impact. I define forgiveness in terms of what you choose to do to yourself, not in terms of the other person. No, 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 no. It's about you. So when you
Exactly.
make that choice, you
Mhm.
boost your immunity, you move on, you choose to thrive. By the way, on the 1st, it will be 2025. So, one of the things you should do to thrive is to start with a detox. Now, as someone who deals with mental and physical health, when I
Mhm.
talk to people, just everybody, after I do talks, I talk to people when coaching clients and just everyday people, people
Mhm.
ask me questions. And one of the questions people ask is, when I start a healthy diet, should I start with a detox? I say no. Detox products exist just to make money. Never take detox products for the body. How you detox your body is you stop toxifying it with sugar and other stuff and then continue.
Mhm.
But when it comes to mental health, we have to start with a mental detox, an emotional detox. That is what forgiveness is.
I like that. I
You
like that.
start,
I've
let's
never really heard of a mental
detox,
detox. Because
emotional,
when you hear detox, you hear the word detox, you're associated with the physical.
yeah,
You're
with
not
something
thinking mental.
drink,
Yeah. But
powder,
I
liquid,
want
or
you to spend some time on that because the mental detox is directly connected because that's where it all starts in the mind
yes,
with the forgiveness. How
yes,
do you do a mental detox? I mean, that is a great way to
yes.
kickstart 2025. Let's hear it, Makheni.
So we're starting 2025 with
Mm-hmm.
mental detox. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, we have agreed that both physical and mental health
Right,
are two sides of the same coin.
right, right.
But when it comes to forgiveness, all the other things, all the other behavioral competencies are
Mm-hmm.
not as crucial as dealing with stress and forgiving, because the trigger of the stress, any form of stress, or the trigger of being offended may be another person. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to other behavioral competencies, such as how to communicate, how to resolve conflict, etc., it's between people. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to forgiveness, unforgiveness happens within a person, just like all stress. It's within a person. Even though it's caused by someone else, even though it's caused by a
Yes.
therapist,
External.
failed you.
Mm-hmm.
On the 5th of May this year, 100,000 rand, which is €5, was fished out of my account.
Mm-hmm.
Such things happen. And you know, when I hear of people losing millions, I say, oh, I'm still better off. And losing their whole pension, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Such things happen. They are done by other people. But the stress is within you. And the good news is overcoming that stress is in your control. It's something you do, it's something you choose to do, and you heal. Obviously, for the first 2 days, I was super angry, also
Typical,
angry.
typical. That's normal.
And then
That's
I
normal.
remember, Makheni, you are the one who preaches the forgiveness
Yeah.
message. Forgive. And I realized after those 2 days how ill that had made me in just 2 days. I hope one day we'll talk about burnout, because I have a burnout story to tell. That's a story for another day.
Another day. Yeah.
You know, a burnout, I used to think that this word burnout, everybody now, it's in fashion, everybody has a burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Until my King, the person who's been preaching mental health for 25 years, the people who's been understanding mental health since 1981, even before 25 years ago, the person who wrote this book on mental and physical illness or
Mhm.
health. The person who has written a whole big chapter on forgiveness
Mhm.
got a burnout. And I like sharing that story, how that happened. And then you start understanding how real the mind body connection is.
Yeah.
How real. By the time I went and got help, oh, you know what? When you have a burnout, it's a physical condition. When I phoned the doctor, you know what the receptionist said after I explained what was happening? She said, I don't want to waste your time sending you to the doctor. Phone your physiotherapist right now and ask for uh, an, an emergency,
Mhm.
an appointment.
Yes.
For the treatment, he said to me, you were a stroke waiting to happen. Because I had done something to my body for 5 months, 5 months non-stop of destroying my health. This is for real, Corine. This is for real. So why forgive? For yourself, not for anybody else.
Let me say something here, Makheni. I'm hearing a few nuggets. Like I said, I hear choice. It's a choice. It's one life we have, as far as I know, on this earth. While they believe that there are multiple lives, I'm not disagreeing with that. But it's one life here on this earth. And you have to choose how you want to live it.
Yes.
And it's not that you don't have examples of that life, because there are people around you that you could look at, even in movies that you could watch and see. Go on YouTube, Google it, and you will see what happens if you do X, what is the possibility of Y. So it's a choice. I also heard you say it's not the external. Take the focus off the external, because it's the thing that is impacted, it's you. It's not the outside. Yeah, you may be triggered by that, but that is not, you have no control over it. You only have control over you. And forgiveness is really about you, it's not about the other person. And some people feel when you talk forgiveness is to forget, it's to let the person loose, meaning they could continue doing the wrong. No, it has nothing to do with them. It's for you to be free
You know
of
what?
that chain. Yeah, of that chain that continues, that you keep carrying along with you. There's a lovely quote I like to use. I don't know, I've seen the definition of it. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Other person to die. Yes.
So you're real gulping down the poison and watching the external person who's probably has done you something and saying, dead now, dead. But it's you that's dying.
Yeah.
So
What you are saying, Corinne, has to do with what makes forgiveness so serious, so difficult. What
mhm,
makes forgiveness so difficult is what you've just said. That you think if I forgive her, I'm exonerating her.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
exonerating her. She's no longer guilty. It has nothing
mhm,
to do with this person.
with
It
that.
has with
Mhm.
you. And we think if I forgive you, I'm doing you a favor. If I forgive you, I'm doing myself a favor.
It's about you.
The people who stole 5,000 euro from my bank account, they don't deserve my forgiveness. Let me tell you something. I deserve the healing.
Hmm. Let
Is
it
there,
go.
they don't deserve my forgiveness, but that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I deserve the healing. So
Yeah.
now, in the last few minutes, I would like us to get, because we've talked about the what,
Mm-hmm.
the why of forgiving, why it's so difficult. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go with the how.
Mm-hmm.
How do you forgive? Uh, being offended happens in the context of my friend is Corinne. I tell Corinne money was stolen from my account. What is Corinne going to say? It's very unlikely that Corinne is going to say, you know what, Makheni? Do yourself a favor, forgive them. No, Corinne is going to say how bad this world has become and give other examples of what happened to her and to her neighbor and to her other friends and her relatives and what she read in the newspaper and saw on TV and
Mm-hmm.
on social media. And then, that just pulls you down, down,
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
down.
As if you didn't already feel worse.
Yes. Why does your friend do that?
Yeah.
People who love you, well-meaning friends and relatives, think they are helping you. They think it's solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
And solidarity kills you. So be careful of that. When
Misery
you
loves company.
only misery loves company. It's better to talk to people who support you in the
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness. Only
Mm-hmm.
those people. And don't talk about the people who bring you down. And then
Mm-hmm.
the next step, realizing what it costs you, how it affects your body. And then choosing healing. The last thing I'm going to say, the work that I do, even the book that I've written, I do secular work. So when I
Yes.
stand in front of people and give a talk, or when I do a master class or coaching, it doesn't involve "thus saith the Lord."
Mm-hmm.
But Makheni, the person, is a believer. I'll tell you
Yes.
this. I have a forgiveness story. In 2002, I forgave not after weeks or months or years, but after decades.
Hmm.
In 2002, I forgave after decades.
Hmm.
When your father is a pedophile and he has a pedophile friend, you have a lot of forgiving to do. Gave after decades and got out of this prison. And I'll tell you something. I could not have done it on my own.
Oh no.
I did it in
No.
power.
Mhm. That is the thing. You think it is within your power, but you can't. And that is a very strong point. And I'm glad we're ending the episode here on that note, because people think it is on their own strength that they could do that. The Lord knows. He knows you cannot do it by yourself. And you have to lean on Him. Sometimes you can't do not even an ounce because you're so fighting it and not forgiving Makheni and not forgiving this. And he has to step in. All he asks is just a little space, just a little space for him to penetrate. And that is all he needs. And that space will widen and widen and widen. And suddenly you realize you're smiling more. Your cells in your body, your health is improving. You're a bit more joyful. You didn't even think about Makheni for months. It's not on your mind. And you catch yourself. You're like, whoa, what's happening here? Because you don't even have to approach Makheni and say, Makheni, I forgive you. You don't even have to write a letter. You don't
No,
have to, you don't have to do any sort of.
well, I like that. People ask me that. Do
Yeah,
I have to tell the person that I've forgiven? I say, if
yeah.
it's going to make you feel good, do so, but it's not a
It's
requirement.
not necessary. No,
Really, you
no.
know what giving did for me? I had a recurring nightmare, one nightmare, recurring for decades.
Wow.
Recurring. As soon as I forgave, from that very day, in 2002, it stopped after today.
Lord.
This is serious.
People,
This is
people watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You have the time. You have the time. Once you're above ground, you have the time. Even if the person is not alive, that's another thing, Makheni. You could still forgive them. They don't have to be alive for you to forgive them. And one of the
yes, oh yes.
important
I'm
things,
glad you mentioned that.
yeah, one of the other important things is starting with forgiving yourself. Because a lot of times, Makheni, we is not the other person, we are upset with ourselves for having allowed whatever to take place. Because why? We are intelligent, smart people. We should know better. Start with forgiving yourself. Work on you first. And then you can start adding Makheni and Corine and whoever else. Start with yourself first. Forgiveness of yourself is one of the hardest things. And I believe, Makheni, you could say, if you start with yourself, forgiving yourself, I think it will be a little bit easier to forgive others. Yeah?
You know, that's why I started by saying the trigger of what we need to forgive may be other people. That is because sometimes the trigger is within you. The trigger of your stress is within you. The trigger of what you need to forgive is within you.
It's all
So
within.
you raised an important point. Forgive yourself. You're just human.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
human.
And that is why it's impacting your health. And you wonder, why am I getting sick so often? I never used to get that. What's a trend? I never used to get sick so often. No, after a while you realize that you're getting sick. Everything that passed, you're getting it. You're just unwell. You're just unwell, you know.
Yeah.
So people pay attention to the symptoms, the signs, how you feel, and how you feel around certain people too. That is a sign where you need to let go. You need to remove yourself from situation. It's not to get rid of them, you know. You have to change the narrative on that. It's you removing yourself from the situation and the person. When you forgive, it doesn't mean to say that you're suddenly going out together and everything was as before. No, you have to set very clear, strict boundaries in how you move forward in life, or if they
Self-preservation.
are, yes, or if they are there in your life at all from that point on. Makheni,
And I mentioned another thing. We
sure.
mentioned cancer, but unforgiveness and other stress
Mm.
also cause and contribute to high blood pressure, diabetes, and other illnesses. It's not only cancer.
Listen, it will show up in the way it need to show up in your body. We cannot decide how it's showing up. And I remember, I can't remember where I either read it or saw it, something, but it was recent. I think it was within this year, but for all you know, it could be last year. I don't know. And it was linked that forgiveness or unforgiveness was linked to, like we talked about cancer a while ago, in the breast in women,
Thank you.
or because these are our emotional glands, the pelvic area.
Let me tell you what you are referring to. It has been proven statistically that
Mhm.
divorced women tend to get breast cancer more than other women. Divorce does not cause cancer. It is the stress that goes with the divorce. Been
You
there,
see?
been there, wearing the cap and the t-shirt. I've been there. The
She have
stress,
the t-shirt. She have the t-shirt, people wearing the cap and the
yes.
t-shirt.
It's not divorce that causes cancer. It's
The
the stress
stress.
that goes with it.
People, be aware of yourself. Fall in love with your body, please. When I say fall in love with your body, you know, just like how you would pour all your heart and soul for a man or a woman, take that same energy and put that love into you. Please start having a relationship with you first before anybody else. People might say that's selfish. That's all right. That's okay, because you cannot have a relationship with others if you don't have a relationship with yourself and know what you deserve and what you don't deserve. Okay? Try and live a long, healthy, happy, ridiculously blissful life. Ridiculously blissful life. Okay, we are saying this day going into 2025. Some people may not see this episode until maybe 2026, 2027. At that point, that's when you're meant to see this. And I am thankful to be able to have done it at this time with Makheni, for you to be able to benefit from it then. Whether you listen today, tomorrow, next 2 years, next 10 years, once the internet is still around, I am thankful that you're able to hear this and it means something to you. Makheni, let's close off. Any final words before you go?
Final words before I go. I'm really grateful. And there is so much about forgiveness. I put it in this book, which is
Yeah.
part one, physical health, and part two, mental health. And there's a whole chapter on forgiveness because this is a big topic. Healthier and slimmer. And the website is healthierandslimmer.online. Or if you just Google the coolest granny, you find me. I'm the coolest granny in town. I'm the coolest granny in
You see
town.
what I mean? You see what I mean, people? You see, you
Not
could
only the
tell,
coolest,
you
but the
could
craziest.
tell,
The
you could tell
craziest.
me,
The craziest.
you could tell me any kind of crazy cells living in this woman. Nothing. Listen, Makheni, I am too cool, sexy, and cute. Okay, and young, sexy, and cute. For me to be having those kind of diseases in my body, it cannot reside in here because I'm not. The environment is not created or right for it. It cannot. I'm too young, cute, and sexy, people. So I mean, I'm not
And
needing your permission. I don't need your validation, and that's a gift I am giving to everybody out there. You're young, cute, and sexy. And believe it because it's true.
it's
Thank you,
true.
McKinney,
We're
for
so
being
cool
up
and
between
sexy,
the
Corinne. We're cool and sexy.
Thank
Thanks.
you, McKinney, for being
Merci.
up between the lines. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. And for supporting me in my show, Between the Lines. You have been awesome. Feel free to comment, ask your questions, whether you're watching from LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. I know a lot of people are shy to ask their questions or to even give a comment, but we appreciate the love. And this takes work, and I enjoy doing it. It's one of my passions. So thank you so much. All the best to everyone, especially for the coming year and the years to come. Whatever is your dream, make sure you visualize it, keep it at the forefront of your mind, and remember to forgive yourself and don't hold any grudges. It does not do any good for your health. Thank you, everyone. All the best.